Welcome to the Film Review. Movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. Each week, the husband and wife team take you on a discussion on culture in movies, music, politics, and society. Brought to you by LordlandFilms.com. So get ready for this week's The Film Review. Hey, what's going on, people? What's going on, people? Do we have another great film review show for you?
Yep.
The Film Review. Movies, music, politics, and whatever else comes to mind. We are your hosts. We're the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
I'm Tracey.
And we review culture in movies, music, politics, and society. And we have two great ones for you today. The first is a sleeper, but it's doing very well in the box office. It's called Escape Room. And the second one is Michael Moore's 11/9 documentary. And we're going to get into it. But first, let's take care of some business. This is brought to you by the Black Ice Chronicles Back in Cleveland DVD. Available on hard copy on LordlandFilms.com. Also streaming on LordlandFilms.com. The Black Ice Chronicles Back in Cleveland DVD. That's one. And don't forget the Film Review t-shirt. Black with the white writing. Available on LordlandFilms.com. Purchase it. You know, it's a donation. Help us continue to bring you great reviews on the Film Review. So I'm going to have my wife take over. She's going to give you a history of
the history
Escape
and the
Room.
origin.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Escape
Go
Room.
ahead. There we go.
Okay, so the movie The Escape Room, right? First, it's started off as a video game, and it still is a video game called Escape Game. And this game was created in 2004, titled Crimson Room. And in 2007 is when the concept was transformed into a live escape room. Both creators were created by a Japanese company called Scrap. They're the ones who transformed the video game into a concept. And the designer of the video game is Taagi. So, what an escape room is, just in case you don't know, it's a room, it's an interactive room, right? Where the game players they're trapped and they interact. It's a virtual environment, and they have to uncover clues and eventually escape the room, which is the ultimate goal. So first time that I was aware of this is on television. I saw it on reality TV, and then I started noticing it, seeing it in the community, the different escape rooms in the area. One just opened up maybe about 6 or 7 months ago from here. So, but after seeing this movie, I'm kind of leery of
going into the
escape room.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the cast of Escape Room, which is a very interesting cast. It's a multicultural cast. It's not a diverse cast. It is a multicultural cast. And if you watch our review on The Equalizer 2, it tells you about the difference between diversity and multicultural. So it has a multicultural cast. So we're going to go through it, and it has as its main protagonist, it has a black female as the main protagonist. So we're going to get into that right now as I continue to spread this signal. So go ahead, let's tell them about it.
The Escape Room, it had a really, really great cast. Actually, the director is a part of the cast, Adam Robitel, as well as Deborah Ann Wool. We know her from Game of Thrones. Taylor Russell, Logan Miller, and Jay Ellis. We know him from the HBO show Insecure, as well as the TV show The Game. Nike Dondi, Tyler Labine, they're all starring in the film. And what Escape Room is it's I would call it a suspense thriller, an intense suspense thriller.
It's really not like horror.
No.
You know, it was explained to us as we were going into the theater that it was kind of like Saw.
Right.
But it's not exactly like Saw because, well, we'll get into
slightly
that. But
different.
It's slightly different.
But in the same vein.
It's more of a brain teaser. Yeah. And you have to try to go along and solve the mystery along with the players that are within the game itself. Right? Because it is a game, but it's a game that's a deadly game.
A game, deadly game of survival.
Yeah, we would say that.
Yeah, so the movie is, it takes you on a ride. It's definitely entertaining because in every turn, because you're in an escape room and there's clues all around, and of course you have a limited amount of time per room, so you know we're not going to give the movie away, but I mean it's quite interesting.
It's quite an interesting movie to say the least about it. You know what I mean?
What was interesting was to see these 6 strangers turn into, I don't know, it's like they turned into a family, because during the adventure of literally like life and death, they all become close, and then you see them looking out for each other, and a lot of ups and downs because you become attached to the different characters. And when you see something happen to each of them, you're like, oh my God, you know. So it's worth seeing.
Yeah, it's definitely worth seeing. So we're going to go in and talk about the synopsis. I'm just populating the show real quick. So we take a second here to finish this up, and then we'll get started going through the review, give you the synopsis, give you the breakdown of what the movie is about.
I loved how in the intro of the movie, it gave you a taste of the background, or not the background, but
backstory.
The backstory of
each person.
Now during the movie, you know, you learned the background of each person.
Right.
So, but it was pretty good. The introduction was really good. It introduced you to a few of the characters in the beginning and their present everyday life. And then they all get together in the escape room for what is it? Was it $10,000?
Yeah, it's a $10,000. If you can complete the escape room, it's a $10,000 reward.
Yes.
I mean, a prize if you can do it, right? And so this is what the film's premise is, as it opens up the piece, okay?
During the movie, I remember whispering over to you and saying, okay, they can keep that $10,000. It wasn't worth all of this.
No, it wasn't.
Like, they can keep the $10,000. So,
yeah, okay. So let's see. So yeah. All right. So
it was a fun Saturday movie.
Yeah, it's a fun Saturday movie. For people who did not see it, you need to go out and see this film. It's very interesting. Escape room. All right. So the premise: you open up. You're introduced to a young lady who is an introvert. Yeah. She's introverted for some reason, but you don't know why she's introverted. And she's a college student, all right? And she's very intelligent. She knows the answers to the questions in class. However, she wants to raise her hand, but she's hesitant and she decides not to. And the teacher who realizes that she's intelligent. Have you ever had a teacher in school that knows that you're very intelligent because you you score high on your test, but they just know that you are more introverted and more quiet, and you're not one to necessarily outwardly speak.
Right.
This is what they're showing you in the film.
Right.
So they flush her out very well. It opens up and it tells the story of her. It fleshes her out very well. So she's an introverted person.
Hey, TJ.
She's an introverted person.
And let's see.
Who is that?
Also,
Getty Wright.
Yeah.
Chiming in, watching. She's a very introverted person, and you don't know why.
Right.
But she's intelligent. She knows the answers to the questions even before the teacher asks, and she just wants to get through college. Yeah. It appears.
Right.
She doesn't take in any of the functions.
Right.
And she goes back to her dorm room.
Yeah, we're talking about the movie is the Escape Room.
That's right, Escape Room, which is showing now, which has a black woman as the lead. She's the protagonist in the film, right? Okay, so she's introverted. She stays to herself. She has a roommate. The roommate wants her to go home with her because it's break time.
Thanksgiving, yeah.
And even her professor says, why don't you do something over the holiday that will make that you are afraid of, because life is not to be just closed in, but to be lived.
Yeah, something out of her comfort zone.
That's right. And no matter how guarded you try to be, life is still going to give you twists and turns, so you might as well live it. That's what he was saying to her, right? Yeah. So a box is delivered to her, and it's addressed as if it comes from her teacher. It appears her instructor. It appears and says, "Experience life" or "broaden life," something like that.
Yeah, because each of the characters
gets a box
from someone they know.
And it appears that they're inviting them to take on this particular adventure. Now, the box is kind of like, I would kind of call it Pandora's box. Yeah. Once you open it up, you have began something. It's kind of like, what's that movie, Hellraiser?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking that box.
It's a square, it's a square box, and it seems like it has no way for it to open. It seems like it's just a box, and so as each person is six people. Right. As each person decides to try to figure out how to open the box, you're introduced to three main characters. Right. You're introduced to three main characters. What's the young lady's name?
The one from the Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She's the main.
Deborah Ann Wool.
That's right. She's the protagonist. Right. And you're introduced to her. Right. And then you're also introduced to
Jay Ellis from The Game and Insecure.
That's right. You're introduced to him.
And then we mentioned Taylor Russell, who's to me the star of the film.
Who?
So all three, Taylor Russell.
Taylor Russell?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
That's who I thought we were saying. Okay, so Taylor Russell is the protagonist. She's the main protagonist. Right. But then there's the what's the white guy's name? Because those are the first three characters that you're introduced to. You're introduced to the guy from off of Insecure. You're introduced to old girl from
with the Game of Thrones.
No. You're not introduced to her. She comes up.
Oh, you talking about the order of appearance?
That's
in the
right.
film?
She comes up as a secondary. She's not a star. Okay. She's this main. Taylor Russell is the main star of the film. Right. Then you're introduced to Jay Ellis. Right. And then you're introduced to Logan Miller. Those
Deborah Ann Wool get paid the most though.
I don't care how much she got paid.
Game of Thrones.
She was a extra.
They introduced her.
I really remember her more from True Blood. I would remember her more from True Blood.
Yeah, you're right.
She's from True Blood. So I would remember her more from True Blood. Okay. She was one of the Fangbangers.
Oh yeah, she was one of the vampires.
Right.
Right.
So.
Right. She's the other redhead. Okay, not Game of Thrones, but True Blood, HBO.
Right. So, Taylor Russell is the star. Right. Then Jay Ellis, who is not only a great dramatic actor, but he's also a comedian.
Right.
And then you're introduced to Logan Miller's character.
Right.
Okay. So these three are the main three that you see, and then the secondary characters come in, which includes old girl from True Blood. She's a secondary character, and she comes in, and she's introduced along with Nick Dadani and Tyler LaBen. Tyler LaBen. You're introduced to all those three. So it's 6 people who are biting to try to get the $10,000. Okay, so they all enter into this room.
Right.
But let me go back because I want to give you the full scope of the story
without giving the film away.
That's right. So Jay Ellis is a
executive.
Well, he's a trader.
Right.
He's a person who trades stocks and gives advice. He's like, if E.F. Hutton talks, then people listen, and that's what he is. And so when he gets his box, he believes that it's from one of his clients who thank him for getting such a great return on the investment, that it was a great lookout for the investment. So when he gets his box, that's who he thinks it's from. Logan Miller's character believes that it comes from his boss, who believes that he's not ready to be a front end person, that it's best for him to be in the back at a bodega
and he thinks
type
he should
place.
Interact with people.
Yeah, like it's kind of like a bodega type place, kind of like a Sprouts, and he's like back in putting the prices on cans and stuff instead of being up front. So he says you're not ready, but he believes that he sent him this box, that he left the box in the stock room so that he can venture out. He said, well, let me go ahead and take this, because obviously the boss knows what he's talking about.
The boss, didn't he ask him about friends?
He said, don't you have friends? You know what I'm saying? And that, he has a drinking problem, and it's evident there in one of the scenes. And he says you have to do something.
But it comes in handy in one scene, you'll see.
Yeah, you have to
the alcohol
to do more, right? You have to do more than just do that, and you need to have friends. You need to get out. So he believes. So each one of the main characters believe that someone that is important in their life brought them, sent these boxes to them for this adventure.
And that's why they don't think it's weird. That's why they're open to this adventure, because it's coming from either a friend, family member, or
employer, or
somebody they know,
someone they know, right? They believe. So they wind up in the room, and you've seen this in the preview, so it's no spoiler. They wind up in the first escape room, and they find out that the receptionist is fake, and the room is heating up, and they have to find a way to get out the room, and then they wind up in another room. So you've seen the first few rooms that they enter into. You've seen that, so there's no mystery there.
There are many other rooms they enter.
Other rooms they enter also. The main point of the story is to show how people in a stressful situation can begin to work together to survive a situation.
Like a social experiment.
But as the stressors of the situation continue to get harder and harder, then you start to see where people will veer off and then begin to turn on each other.
The true character.
The true character comes out.
Right.
Absolutely. So this is what this story opens up, and this is what it's about. Now, the suspense of the film. Well, let's go through the pacing. Opening up the story, you see the main protagonist, and then you see the main supporting cast, and then you see the secondary supporting cast. So as it's introduced, her dramatic need is to be more outgoing. For the person, the dramatic need for the Ellis's character is to he always wants to win.
Right.
So he takes this on because he thinks it's a reward for doing this, and he thinks it's a challenge, and he thinks he can win this $10,000. And then the Miller's character, his thing is to overcome his dependency on alcohol, and he feels that his boss is helping him become more of a social butterfly, so that he will open up and
for career advancement.
He'll be able to open up and then thus be able to be in the front of the store instead of in the back of the store. So these are their dramatic needs, well flushed out, the dramatic need of the characters. Now, the secondary characters, which are three, which I'm just going to call her True Blood. She
Deborah Ann.
I'm just gonna call her True Blood. That's why.
I mean, that's better than me. I kept saying Game of Thrones.
Right. True Blood. I'm gonna call her True Blood. Her dramatic need is to overcome her fear because she was in war. So they show you. So you don't get to see what their hang-ups are. The secondary supporting cast until they're already in the action. For who's the next person?
Is it for Tyler?
For Tyler, his character, his dramatic need is he has to overcome claustrophobia and the fear of dying because he was in the coal business, mining business, and something happens and he survives and others don't. And then for the Nick character, his is not really ever flushed out until after he's gone. So you have to see the film to understand what was going on with him. But until
he's gone through the adventure.
Until he's gone through the adventure. So you have to really watch the film, and then it's kind of flushed out to you that way. Right? So as far as them setting up the story, setting up, and within the pacing, because the movie is moving constantly, and within the movie you're seeing flashbacks that tell the secondary supporting cast characters situation, and also you see the flashbacks where they tell you the primary characters situations. They flesh out more why they are the way that they are. Beautiful film making. I give the director A1. I know he's had to sit in the editing booth and also edit the piece. So beautiful filmmaking on his part, beautiful storytelling all the way through. There's no doldrum time in it where it slows down.
Because you find yourself sitting there, because it's like, you know, the escape room is a puzzle, right? You're trying to figure out. So as a viewer, you're trying to figure out the puzzles, you know, to help them escape, you know. So, you know, they'll give the clue, the characters, so while they're trying to figure it out, you're watching the film, looking at everything in the room, trying to help them figure it out before time expires and something happens to them. So you are definitely, it's like one of those, you remember those adventure books when you were younger, and then you read the book, and then you have to turn to page 6 or 7 or 8 for this adventure to happen. I kind of felt like that watching this film, because it's just like, okay, they better, maybe if they do this, they solve one puzzle, and then this happens, and then they do something else, and then this happens. So you're definitely
it's definitely, you're choosing your own fate. That's what those books were. Choose your own fate, choose your own path. And that's the way it unfolds in the story. So the storytelling, beautifully done. The lighting and the color schemes to tell the story, to show emotion, excellently done. The puzzles. The puzzles.
I said I'd be in trouble.
The puzzles are so. Okay, let's be true about this. The way I saw the puzzles unfolding, it would just so happen that the way that they found those things, I don't believe that would happen. I really don't believe that they would have found those clues and the different keys that could unlock something. I don't think that they would find it that easily.
You know what? I think because without telling the film, you understand why those particular 6 people were able to solve the different puzzles, because it was tied into their life, right? So just any Joe Blow off the street that wasn't tied into the reason why they were there wouldn't be able to figure it out. So it was set up kind of for them to figure out, because each puzzle had something to do with their life, within their life. So,
but I believe it, like, just so happenstance, things happening, the way that the lead character found some things in the first initial room.
Right.
I thought that to me they would have burned. I think that if there were 6 people in there, I think you saw that in the preview. So Fahrenheit.
In the trailer,
you saw that, so that's no 450. I mean, you would have burnt.
Right.
I believe, but but at the same time, they made it believable. So the cuts and the edits on it made you then believe that could possibly be happening. Right. So it's believable. All right. Back to the puzzles, though. Each one of the puzzles, incredible. Like trying to find your way out of these mazes, and then through these puzzles showing you the character traits of each character and their tics, their psychotic or social tics that show that they are not what they say they are.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That uncovering the truth about who these people are, right? Beautifully done, outstanding, right? Beautifully done, outstanding, well worth seeing and watching. Go to the theater to see it. The pacing, excellent. Editing,
just for entertainment,
excellent. Sound quality, always something that's most important. Very well done, very well executed. You will enjoy this film,
because it's a fun movie. If you just want to kick back and just chill and watch a fun movie and all types of twists and turns and trying to figure it out, you'll enjoy.
But it's not scary.
Oh no,
it's not a Saw.
But someone told us it was.
Yeah, as we walked in, they said it was kind of like Saw. But what happens is, unlike Saw, well, you have to see the film.
Yeah,
you definitely have to see the film.
It's in the same vein as Saw.
It's in the same vein as Saw, but it's more of a psychological thriller where you're going to say, are they going to be able to figure it out by the end of the film, right? It's not something like in Saw where the person is strapped down to something and then that's it, and then they just get drilled through and you just hear.
Well then, you know what? I don't want to tell the movie, but you know.
Go ahead.
It's in the same vein as Saw.
It's in the same vein.
Without telling the movie.
Without telling the movie.
Because I was frustrated. I mean, it's a good movie, but I was pissed. So, you know. Because just like, you know, the escape rooms that you see on television, you know, reality TV, and like I said, there's one up the street that they just opened, and I'm like, oh, I want to try it. But after seeing this movie, I'm like, what if it's not like on reality TV? Fun compared to this film. It was just horrific. So
it is horrific. You will be challenged. You will say, maybe I might pass on
right.
I might pass on doing the escape room.
So what would you give?
Okay, the rating on escape room, I'm gonna give it most def. I'm going to give it a 10.
Okay.
It is well worth seeing. Okay. You will not be disappointed. The trailer does not give any credit to this film. Right? And when we saw the trailer, we've been seeing the trailer for like 6 months. Right? And we saw the trailer and I was like, I don't know about this. But we said, well, let's go on ahead and see the film. Right. You know what I mean? And we were not disappointed. It was entertaining, well worth watching. Right. You will be entertained. You will enjoy this film. So go see Escape Room. So what would you rate the film?
It was a good film. It was entertaining, but I would give it like a 6.5.
Oh my!
That's not bad.
Okay. Let's break this down for a minute. What happened? What happened in your viewing experience?
You know what? All I have to say, if there's a part 2, then it deserves a 10. But if there is not a part 2, because the way it ends with the characters, like, you know, I don't want to get a movie away.
The way it ends, so it's kind of like I took that out of my rating and just dealt with the body of the
because
film.
I was invested in the characters in the film, and I'm just like,
and they should have went another way at the end.
They should have. So I 6.5. So it's a good film, and you're so invested, and it's just like, okay, well, come on, give a little bit more. Now these people worked hard to get to where they are, and they went through hell. This is how. Come on. Now, if there's a part 2, I would like to see the characters that survived in part 2. Right? I don't want to see a whole new film, part 2 with a whole new cast.
Well, it seems like it could be a franchise.
I mean, it could be a franchise, but it has to be done smart because the audience isn't stupid.
Right. That's
so
true.
The 2 characters, I think that there should be a part 2.
Yeah, part 2.
Right.
I agree with that.
And then, you know, so if it's a part 2, then hey. But if it's not, I just, you know, it's a good film, and in the end, I'm like, what the hell just happened?
It is not Final Destination. We will tell you that. It is not Final Destination, though there are Final Destinations. But there's it is not Final Destination, so we will tell you that straight off the rip, right? But it is well worth seeing.
Right.
The way that the film ended, I took it out because
I did.
They assume too much, I believe. In the closing of the film, that they assume too much about its initial success. Right. I would say,
and then it did well, right?
Right. It only cost $9 million to make.
But I remember it did well.
It was $9 million to make, and it made like $45 5 million.
Something like that.
So that's almost what is that? Almost what is that? For the 36, 5, 40, 7, 6, 48. That's almost 6 times what it costs to make it. They made 6 times what it costs to make it. So that's good.
Part 2.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth seeing for yourself.
45. 5 times as much as it costs to make.
And it kept me awake because some movies
will put you to sleep.
And this movie definitely.
Like, let me tell you, the movie we saw. I'm waiting for now that we saw Replicas. We already reviewed that in episode 41 of the film review. I'm waiting for John Wick to redeem my redeem not River Phoenix, but Keanu Reeves in my eyes, because that movie right there, maybe it's gonna do good overseas, maybe, right?
Probably so.
Yeah. So, all right. So that is the review on
Escape
Room. Now, the next piece up that we have is one that is very interesting, to say the least, especially with what's going on in the in politics today.
Yeah. And we saw this on was it Netflix or was it?
I think it's Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah, we saw it on Netflix.
Yeah.
So this is Fahrenheit 11/9, and give them more information about that.
Of course, another great documentary by Michael Moore, who predicted that Donald Trump would become the 45th president. I do remember him saying that. He was on the different talk shows, and they laughed at him, but we knew it too, right?
Yeah, we knew it. When he came down the escalator, I said they need to seriously take this guy serious. When he came down the escalator and said what he said, I said, this guy is going to win the election. I said it straight from coming down the steps.
Because it was obvious. If you watch the temperature, in the country, and the different reporters would talk to the people, to the American people, and people were saying how they were going to vote for Trump. And although, we had people who were excited about Hillary, it just seemed like
people were going.
It was believable that they would put Trump in office because, you look at the lines, and people had the Trump signs on television as well as in the area, and then you had people who said that they wasn't going to vote for Trump, and in the back of your head, you look at them like, I know you're going to vote for Trump. You're just saying that in front of me. So, but Fahrenheit 9/11 really hit it on the nose. It was really
11/9.
Oh, yeah, 11/9. Said it backwards.
Yeah.
And
it's
he was right on point with what he predicted. And still to this day, the media, they laugh and they
laugh at him, and it's really, it should stop that, because that doesn't work. That doesn't work with Trump. Ridicule does not work. He has lived in it in New York where they would ridicule him, have drawings on him. He loves it. So don't think that just because you're ridiculing this man, that's gonna do anything. Do you? This is maybe the question that we asked today, and we're broadcasting, simulcasting on Blog Talk Radio and also on Facebook Live. And this may be the question that we asked tonight for people to call in. Do you believe that Nancy Pelosi is the reason why Donald Trump caved as far as keeping the government shut down? Do you believe that Nancy Pelosi was the reason why Donald Trump caved? Was her stance on it the reason why Donald Trump caved?
I think it was the airlines.
The number is 213-943-3358. So that'd probably be the question for tonight. Okay, so 11/9 documentary. Okay, now at first when it was in the theaters,
we were busy.
I was like, we were busy.
Yeah.
But
because when it was in the theater, that was the campaign season.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, because you remember.
It just came out the theater.
No,
not.
Which one was in the theater when Nina Turner, we love Nina Turner, was in the city, right? And you remember, because we was helping out with the campaign. And you remember one of the...
he had the other documentary out where he
is that the one? Because she was like, we were going to see Michael Moore. Y'all want to go see it? And we was just like, no, we tired.
No, that was the one where he was going around. He had a thing where he was going around. He put that out.
Okay.
Where he was going around talking to the different people, trying to tell them not to vote for Trump. It was like a stand-up film where he went around talking to people. This film came out, but that came out a couple of months ago and was in the theater, and we were seeing it, and I was like, well, do I want to see another film because we know how it all went down.
Right.
Pleasantly surprised to say that Fahrenheit 11/9 is much more than a Trump bash fest.
Yeah, it was. It told a lot. It told a lot, and so I don't know. What stood out to me was in Detroit, right, with the water.
Well, in Flint. We gotta be.
Specifically in Flint, Michigan, right?
All right.
So what stood out to me was that, like, the whole water situation. I'm glad that Michael Moore covered that, but I do remember Michael Moore. He was on television, and he was really, really, really riding for Flint, and he was trying to draw attention to Flint, as well as like other celebrities, who was trying to draw attention to Flint, because it was just a lot going on. And speaking of that, Rachel broke this story, the Flint story, on her show.
She broke the story.
Rachel Maddow. And so Michael Moore covered it. So we knew what happened with the governor. And but just seeing the documentary and the behind the scenes and how it was intentionally done is horrific. Now that's just a piece of the documentary, because this documentary covers like other areas. It covers like the Trump campaign, what happened in Flint, as well as what happened with Hillary. I mean, just everything. He covers a lot. Bernie, like everything. But for me, in that documentary, because I didn't know President Obama went to Flint, because
but before we get
when that happened, that was during his presidency, President Obama's presidency. So
before we get to there, let's back up. Let's talk about how Michael Moore even ties in Flint to Donald Trump, because this is what 11/9 is about.
Right.
The governor of Flint is a longtime friend of Donald Trump. Also a person who
not a surprise.
Also someone who contributed to his campaign.
Yep.
Right? Now, during this film review, we have learned a lot. When we went to go see Vice, we got to see how the government actually works. Like when you learn about Cheney, he was an aide to Donald Rumsfeld at first when he was a senator. Right? And then as it goes along, he goes up the line, and then when it's time to reciprocate the favor, he brings Donald Rumsfeld back in. So it's always the same people who are in the same group, the same circle of people. Now, Donald Rumsfeld was around Nixon.
Yep.
Who else is around Nixon?
Oh boy, today. What's his name?
Stone.
Yep. Roger Stone.
Roger Stone. He was around Nixon. Roger Stone has been a longtime friend of Donald Trump, which makes you wonder, was Donald Trump just faking being a Democrat all the time? Or it doesn't matter if it's Democrat or Republican, it's all two sides of the same coin. You understand what I'm saying? So, Roger Stone is in the news. The governor of Flint was cool with Trump. You see, all these people
all intertwined.
Are all intertwined, and it goes back to Nixon.
And that's what's good about watching these documentaries and these political films, because this is stuff that you don't read in the history books. You know, this is stuff you don't read, you don't learn in social studies and civics in college and high school, and this is stuff that they don't show you on the news.
They don't show you because they took civics from out of school. So, social studies and civics, well, that's just out the window. I mean, most people don't even know how the government actually works. All right, so for some reason they cut us off of Facebook, so we're coming back to you right now live because they cut us off on the first feed. It wasn't even an hour.
Yeah, like I said, if you're not talking hate, if you're not talking hate, a hate group, or if you're not talking ignorance and cooning, then they want to cut you off from social media.
Yeah, so I mean they cut the feed, and we weren't talking, we weren't cursing.
You're speaking truth.
Just speaking truth, and they cut the feed. So
you're not supposed to speak truth. You're only
supposed to just talk.
Right, be deaf, dumb, and blind.
Yeah, just talk stupid stuff. I guess, right?
But anyway.
So
watch the documentaries. You learn a lot.
Let me set this up here.
So the Michael Moore documentary, Fahrenheit 9/11, was a huge eye opener.
All of these things are you learn how politics is done with the people, right? You learn how it's done, how it's played, what they're doing to the people. It's really a interesting and weird type of situation. We're kind of rambling a little bit because I'm trying to get this back up here on Facebook and trying to put it through. But anyway, so let's keep talking here while this figures itself out. So we are back live.
Yeah, the Roger.
Yeah, we were talking about Roger Stone, right? All of them are connected. It appears through Nixon. That's where it all appears to. So Trump, all of them are connected through Nixon, and through watching Vice, you see how this actually works, how everything is done, how it affects people and movements and stuff. Now, most people would have said that we don't like. Most people would have said, "Well, we don't like what Nixon did because he was on the verge of being impeached, and he resigned, and then he was pardoned by Ford." Right? So you have to go back to it, and this is why I say that the media is complicit in this. Originally, all they told you about Roger Stone was that Roger Stone was Donald Trump's friend. Roger Stone gets indicted over these last few days ago. And then all of a sudden they bring you out full packages, edited up, telling you the history of Roger Stone. They tell you then the history, and they're telling you that he's connected all the way back. Right? So when you watch Fahrenheit 11/9, you find out that here's Trump, and he's connected to the guy who wanted to put in another pipeline coming from the fresh Great Lakes. That's how Flint, Michigan was getting its water through Lake Michigan, which is a fresh water base. But instead they switched it over to the river, because they had to switch over to the river because they wanted to have time for them to drill this pipeline, to say that they really needed this new pipeline come just to make money, right? Just his cronies wanted to make money. And he they do this, and then all of a sudden, Legionnaire's disease, the river corrodes the pipes, and then brings lead into the pipes, and then there's a whole group of black people, and then poor whites that could not get out, who are affected by the water, right? By the situation with the water. So, this is so weird. It will not let me write. But anyway, so this is a whole group of people that are affected by this, and it's brought about because of greed and people wanting to drill another line from the water, right? So this is what you learn in 11.9 through the documentary about Donald Trump. That's what you find through 11.9. Now,
his connection.
So every story that they tell in 11.9 is a connection. Now, remember when they talked about how President Obama's line was somehow connected to Brad Pitt, that Dick Cheney, and President Obama, when they did the swab of the mouth, they somehow are connected through bloodline, through relation, through relative. They are relatives, right? So when you get to talking about, and all this traces back to Nixon, right? So when you get to it, then you start talking about how when President Obama came. Now, we talked about this in my last Crazy Topics show, which comes on every Thursday at 11 a.m. And the feed cut on that from Facebook. So I don't know what this is all about, but the feed cut.
Oh, you know what it's all about.
Yeah, feed cut then. But President Obama goes to Flint, Michigan. Now, you have to see 11.9 because this is very important to understand politics. You have to stay true to the political. Now, let me break off a minute. If we were talking ignorance and we had some black folks fighting, I mean, the signal would never be cut. But because we're talking true indeed,
realism,
facts, you know what I mean? And really what it really boils down to is people really don't have time to go out and investigate this stuff. So nothing will really change, but it's good for people to be aware of what's really going on, right? But you're going to go on ahead and cut it's just ridiculous. But anyway, so, I mean, I wonder what was the key word that we said. We have to go back and watch and listen to the key words. This happens like it is radio. Whenever there's a key word said, they cut the feed.
And like it is radio is a conscious.
That's right, conscious. And whenever there's a certain word that they don't want heard, they cut the feed. Okay, so look.
If you're not talking ignorance and coonery.
Yeah, if you're not talking ignorance, then all of a sudden, they're not, they're not, they're going to cut the feed on you. But if you're talking ignorance, they're going to stay with it to the very end. I mean, they got all kinds of videos up with women getting beat up and dudes getting beat up, all
rapes and everything,
all kinds of stuff.
And they'll show that shit over and
they're
over.
showing that all over and over and over again, and it's the weirdest. It's the weirdest thing. But people, so I just had to get that off real quick. Now, the point of all this is.
Are you able to type now, or
no? I put it in comments so people can understand what's going on here.
Okay.
So I put it in comments, and so people will see that it's part 2. Okay. I've been trying to let them know it's part 2, so they can, the ones that were watching, can come on and continue. I am highly disappointed in the bots that Facebook has. You can't talk about anything. But anyway, we're not saying anything negative. We're just
bots of bigots.
We're just kicking
bigot
facts.
Bots.
We're just kicking facts. Now,
are they bigot bots?
I guess that's what you could call it. But anyway, listen, people. I'm so disappointed. But anyway, because we had a robust situation going on. We had just
okay. Let's get back to
let's get back to the
get back to the truth.
Okay, so look. So you tie all this together, what's happening with Roger Stone,
right?
And you know that Trump and them were friends. You know, Roger Stone goes all the way back to Nixon, which means that somewhere that the governor of Flint at the time, he's no longer governor, they voted him out, but he got his money now, I would believe. Okay. Just my opinion. He goes back somewhere and is probably connected somehow when you go back. Right. So this is why the media is disingenuous.
Right.
They tell you first that this is nothing but, Roger Stone is nothing but Trump's friend, right? Soon as this indictment comes down and they arrest him, right, then they tell you all about his past and how far he goes back. You could have told the people that from the very beginning.
Yeah, they tell you a little bit, but
the could have turned.
Yeah, the documentary goes.
But the media,
right?
The media, to me, just my opinion,
right,
are
co-conspirators.
They want this to happen because it's dollars.
And it's a story.
Trump is dollars, one thing.
Right.
And two, whoever is writing the copy is the one that's in control. Right. So whoever writes the copy for the talking head to say, right, they will say it with no complaint, with nothing. They will say it, and it will be put across to the people. And I don't care if it's FOX, right, or if it's MSNBC, right, or if it's CNN or any of the A through Z. Right. They are all there, no matter if they consider themselves conservative, kicking the conservative right, or if they kick the liberal left. Right. They are all in it together. Just like in my opinion, the Democrats and the Republicans are two sides of the same coin, and it does not matter. Just like they decided to give us this time. Remember, now if you listen last year, we had a podcast, myself and Franklin G, called Nothing But the Facts. And when you go back and listen to Nothing But the Facts, it's available on Vimeo on demand to listen to the different episodes. Also on SoundCloud, SoundCloud Crazon -Deon, CRAYZON DEEYON. You can go back and listen to those. We talked about Kamala Harris, or however they pronounce her name, and we talked about her. And we said, are you going to vote for Kamala Harris? That's what I asked, because that's who they're going to put up for us next to vote for. She's next. She's going to be like the Obama. And sure enough, she releases on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. She announces, right? But she's not talking anything that Martin Luther King today would be talking. Right. You know what I'm saying? What I mean by that. So it is amazing. It is an amazing and crazy situation that you see happening with this whole situation that's happening, right? Right. And she's being propped up to be the next coming of President Obama, and we're supposed to go hook, line, and sinker and vote for this woman. To me, she's no better for us than Hillary Clinton was. That's the truth. Or Obama. Now that we find out that what Obama was really doing.
After seeing a documentary.
You know, after seeing
what happened, what Obama did in Flint.
No, let's talk about that for a minute, because we got off on a tangent because they kind of threw us off our flow here with all of this cutting the signal. I mean, they just cut right out. I didn't even give a warning.
You better hurry up, because it's going to cut you off.
It's going to cut again. Obama goes to Flint right now. This is at the end because this is close to the end of his situation. And he goes to Flint.
It took him a while to get to Flint.
Flint took him a while. Took him a while. So he gets there, and first they have the governor at the time come out and speak, and everybody's booing him, right? And they say, "We want Obama, forget you." Yeah. So then Obama comes out, and
everybody's
talking,
cheering and clapping.
That's right. And he comes out and he's talking, and somewhere within his talk he says, "Well, I need to get a glass of water."
Okay, before you get to that, the governor of Flint had a glass of water on television.
Right, and said he was going to drink.
And he wanted the people of Flint to know, right, that the water was safe to drink. So the governor of Flint
at the time, this is before Obama came. Okay, so to Flint. So the governor takes this glass of water and he puts it to his mouth. He doesn't drink the water. He puts it to his mouth, then he put it down. Okay, the water is safe. Okay, just to give you a picture. Now fast forward it, Obama goes to Flint and he comes out on stage and everybody's cheering and like, oh, Obama's here, he's going to be our savior. He's going to take care of this. He's going to speak out against this treachery that's happening to us. And then Obama does the same thing the governor of Flint does. And then right, but the governor is standing, is there with Obama, and I'm thinking, why is Obama there with this dirty governor? and so in the end,
he does the same thing as the governor.
And the woman says, he was my president. You see what I'm saying?
People was disappointed because what Obama did was he what did he say? I'm thirsty. Can I get a drink? I'm thirsty.
I feel a little parched.
And then so he takes this water and same thing as the governor.
Just wipes his lips.
Puts it up to his mouth and removes it. And I'm thinking,
if you drink a glass, if you're thirsty, you're parched, you would drink at least half of the water. If it were me, I would have said, drink the whole thing. It's safe.
But the point is that the governor had did that. After the governor did that, they ran tests and it showed that there was still a high lead in the water that had killed multiple people and poisoned multiple people and children. Some died, some were poisoned, and the poisoning will eventually lead to death and sickness and illness. Now, this is still all after the governor put the glass of water up to his mouth. Right? So then we know after the tests had been ran, that it was still poisonous. So then Obama comes, does the same thing, and then after Obama does that, still the water is poisonous. I thought that was some dirty shit. He knew that the water wasn't good. He stands there with the governor, and these are the people who put you in office. So I'm sitting here thinking, all of the people that's in the office that was in the audience, poor, black, white, Hispanic, Asians, different religions, in that
all
community,
believing that Trump,
all clapping and
Trump,
happy because
did you know what I said? I said all believing in Trump. Sorry,
all happy
Obama.
all happy when they see Obama. And he stands there beside the man that they're protesting, the governor, and trying to get him out of office. And they're trying to bring charges on him. Because when you see this documentary, you'll see that all of this treachery shit was done on purpose. There's a fucking paper trail.
Let me say allegedly.
Allegedly, they show a paper trail that shows that because of money, they redid the pipes from the fresh water in Michigan. Where did it come from? The sewer? Oh,
Came from the river.
He came from the river, and they show you the river, and you see that this river has all kind of brown and with debris all in it. So it's brown.
Wait, here's the kicker.
Right. They do the pipes now. Wait a minute. They set the pipes in while the river is brown with debris. And Obama is backing this shit? I'm like, what the hell is this?
But here's the
that changed my opinion completely.
The river water.
Completely.
The governor changed the lines on the GM plant that was there.
Oh, yeah. That's the kicker.
because
of the poisoning. What was happening?
Because not because of the poisoning. He didn't care about that.
Well, the people made it. It was rusting out the edges of the car.
It was
corrosion,
corroding, and it was decaying the metal.
Right.
It was causing the metal to deform and decay the river water. And he said, "Wait a minute, we can't have that." So they changed it back to the Flint, Michigan water system.
Right.
But the people who had to drink the water, bathe in the water,
right,
water their grass with it, wash their car with it.
Right.
You know, they said, nope, you the water's still good enough for you to drink, but not good enough for the GM plant.
But they changed it when GM made a lot of noise.
Just for the GM plant.
Just for the GM plant. But they left it the same for the people. And then Obama backs this shit?
And then you just have to watch 11-9. And this is why, listen, I have been
and this, excuse me, but this is just like not coming from out of our mouths. You see it. Watch the documentary. You see Obama drinking the water, standing there with the governor, and all of this treachery. All this shit is in the 9/11. Or is it 11/9?
11/9.
In Fahrenheit 11/9, Michael Moore's documentary. It'll blow your mind.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I have been registering people to vote since I was 19 years old. The first person I ever voted for was Clinton. I voted for him twice. Right? So we went through Clinton. Then after Clinton was Gore. Gore lost. Right? Then after Gore, right? Then we had what was his face? The dude that looked like, in my opinion, a horse face because of his face work. Dude is married to the Hershey woman, Hershey era woman.
Kerry, right?
John Kerry. Went through him. He lost. That put Bush in there for 8 years. Then, finally, after all the time of fighting and working for it, they came and they gave us President Obama. And they said, this is the man that's going to do this. But he never, ever brought an agenda about... And remember, the CBC, you know, though the CBC really, they have been there for quite a long time. And people in the CBC, down Shirley Chisholm, when she was running, right, they come to find out to be right about President Obama, that he doesn't come from the same lineage line.
Therefore, his thought process
is different, right? They were right about that. Come to find out,
because
Tavis Smiley and Cornel West were right.
Because after seeing that, to me, it seemed as if it was as if Obama came out, and then it's like he's looking at the people in the audience as those people. Those people may be poisoned, but I'm on the side of this Republican governor.
Allegedly.
And big business is how it came across.
Big business.
Because he kind of, what is it? The governor says the water is okay, guys. So I'm going to show you that the governor is right. So I'm going to drink the water just like the governor just did. Even though the governor set up the pipes from this dirty, filthy river with debris in it. And, they also tell you in the documentary is money behind it, So it was a money grab at the expense of all of these people who stood in line for hours and hours to put President Obama in office under the guise that he was a black man who had the same tint, same hue as us. But as far as mind and thought process about the people, it's a me and them thought process. Because he didn't care about the people who put him in office.
It appears.
It appears all these babies and adults, and they showing these people of all ages and races and dying or poison, and then and it will cause behavioral situations, and that they're creating the prison pipeline and the privatized prisons, so that it would seem kind of sinister and seem like, well, what lead does, so behavioral problems, people would then become kind of deep, and then thus they will wind up in the prisons. So you can look at it like that,
Possibly.
And then to put what salt on an open freaking wound when Obama leaves Flint, then they turned Detroit into a grounds for
No, they did that first. They did the emergency zones. I forget what they call it, but they had different people taking over the cities, taking them,
dropping bombs and shit.
Oh no, that was Flint.
Right,
that was still Flint, not Detroit.
You remember? As soon as he left,
they used
turned it into
Flint. They used the abandoned school buildings and the abandoned buildings
and
for
neighborhoods,
military training, as if they were over in Iraq somewhere. None of this hit the news,
and we watched the news,
which makes you wonder.
It was intentionally not placed in the news.
When they were doing the military exercises out in Texas, and the people were complaining, the people who were more on the militia group side, the Tiki Torch side, when they were complaining about it, it hit the news because they were complaining about it. But in Flint, it didn't hit the national news that this was happening. It makes you wonder if the people who had the tiki torches and the ones who are conspiracy theorists on that side, the Alex Joneses, etc., if they're not actually onto something, though in my opinion they are bigots and racists and eugenicists, and maybe they are onto something here. Now, have you noticed? Let me say this before you say that. Have you noticed that they haven't cut our feed since we've been talking about President Obama? They said, "That's right, Negroes.
You better hurry up. Get it out.
Talk about black people.
Get it out.
Don't worry, we're coming right here. Go ahead.
The people in Flint, right? So they're dropping like bombs and all of this training, and they're actually you're actually seeing it like in neighborhoods, right? So I'm like, let's say we're sitting here right now doing this broadcast, and like next door I hear like a bombs and all this kind of shit going on. That's what was happening in Flint. So they actually was talking to the people who were upset and concerned or protesting about the water. Not only that, they're explaining to you what's going on in their house. They said all of a sudden, the furniture is shaking, glasses are breaking.
This is happening at
night. Like they felt like they were in a war zone. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, PTSD, post-traumatic stress, right here in the neighborhoods. Not overseas, here. They're dealing with dirty water in which the governor approved, right? And then the president of the United States, who they helped put in office, shook their hands and smiling and joking about the dirty water with the governor and siding with the governor. And then, then all of a sudden at night you're trying to sleep, and then you're hearing bombs, and then you're finding out that the government, approved by the president, have turned your neighborhood into a training ground where bombs are being dropped. What the fuck?
Ain't that something? And
then here walks in Kamala Harris, who was pretty upped by President Obama, if not a mentor of his, because when he was in office, a mentee of his, yeah,
she's nobody's mentor.
Oh yeah, well, because while he was in office, they showed him in her state and with her a lot and out speaking, and when she was running, they were together, and so out comes him, in comes her. Please.
But see how politics.
Are you kidding me?
See how politics runs, people. You have to go see Vice. You have to go see Vice for more. It is not. They claim it to be a comedy, but it is not a comedy, and it shows you through. Maybe they're masking it as a comedy, so we'll say it's a comedy.
So go see Vice.
Go see it
and Fahrenheit 11/9,
because it shows you how government sets up and how the European American works with the same group of people, and how politics crosses over. What you learn from what President Trump is doing is that politics crosses over, because he was always said to be a Democrat, but Hillary was a Republican before she was a Democrat. She switched over to Democrat for expediency of pushing through.
I was surprised to find out that she was a Republican.
So what you find out is that when you trace it back, these people are cross-pollination. It's kind of like when people go to court and the public defenders, not to say nothing bad about public defenders, but they are going to lunch with the people who are trying to send you away to prison. How could you really trust, in my opinion, just my opinion, how could you really trust a public defender?
Unless you're one that's on BET's In Contempt, which was a wonderful show. But anyway.
Yeah, if you were fictitious like that, then yeah, you know, you could be, you could be believed. Okay, people, so look, they didn't cut us off when we were talking about President Obama.
I mean, it was sad. My eyes was watery when I saw that. I'm like, not President Obama.
They cut us off when it got to talking about Trump and his connection in with the people. Let me tell you something, people. We are not people who bag on black people. Like, Obama did his job, he's done, but we cannot afford as a people to have that done to us again. You know what I mean?
What's the saying? Fool me once.
Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Right?
The other way around.
Oh, what's your way? Shame on you. Shame me twice. Shame me twice. Blame. Fool me twice. Shame on me. That's right. It's the other way around. You are exactly right. Listen. If we get fooled again, because they're pushing that she's a woman and she's a black woman, but yet she's not really in the lineage line of what it is. What we want to see.
Well, first thing, she identified herself as Indian.
She did, and then what? And
then now that she's in office, it's convenient. So now she's dancing to Cardi B and pandering the way Hillary did with the damn hot sauce in her purse. You know, because Beyonce mentioned hot sauce in her song, and it's insulting. Don't insult me. We are an intelligent people. Don't insult us. Don't with the rap music. And then I was highly insulted the other night when, what's her name? Kamala Harris, shout out to Fife, listening to the song. I'm like, girl, do you not know he's dead? Your people told you to shout out to, you dancing to Tribe Called Quest, one of your favorite songs, and this and that, and then shout out to Fife. They forgot to tell you he was dead.
Okay, so listen. Fahrenheit 11.9 is more than just that, but we had to really focus on that.
Excuse me, but it should have been a rest in peace fight if you were truly a Tribe Called Quest fan.
If you were truly a Tribe Called Quest fan.
Stop this. We're not stupid.
You know what I'm saying? We're not stupid. You know what I mean? Come on. Like, really, I need to really see, like...
Well, excuse me, but what we going to put somebody else in office and let nothing happen the same way we had a president in office that we all, put in office when, Trayvon and Tamir Rice and Michael Brown and on and on and on and on, and nothing is happening. Meanwhile, while you're in office, you're signing paperwork, bills to help the police department, to protect them. Meanwhile, this is going on, but nothing to protect the civilians against police brutality. And while this is President Obama now, so that happened on his watch. So what's gonna happen on her watch?
More of the same.
Because I'm watching you on the Rachel Maddow show, and you're talking about, you said what your platform is, and your platform, you said, is what immigrants, which is fine, and then what is it, the
LGBT
community, which is fine, right? But then you said nothing about the black community, So it's just like that. I'm like, damn, deja vu all over again. Like, we all busting our ass to put everybody in office, but nobody is dealing with our issues, and we're putting a lot of money behind these different politicians, the way a lot of money was put behind Obama, just like everybody else, right? Put a lot of money behind Obama, and everybody's issues was addressed except for ours. And people brought agendas to the table. Believe that. Don't believe that issues wasn't brought to the table. They
weren't they bringing people like Common and not just for the performance times. No, not just for the performance times, but when they come in there talking about putting an agenda together, how come the agenda was never done? It was just an appeasement. It was great.
Kind of like with Trump, right?
Entertainment and Jubilee is good.
Right.
For entertainment and Jubilee, they did that on the plantation. We talked about that before.
Right.
They did that on the plantation to keep people pacified. On a Sunday, have Jubilee, and you can dance, and the master be sitting out there watching you dance. Right. But back Monday, we're going to knock your teeth out some more and get to doing that before we give you the lash, Negro. So, that's what it's really about. So we need to see a person come up that is from the lineage of people who were here.
Put us on the agenda like everybody else.
Because
we put money behind you like everybody else. But go ahead. It's frustrating.
Since we need to have a person in office that is put up, that run. It comes from the lineage of people that were here. The Nation of Islam says 1554, 1619. Okay, this is 400 years right now, right here. 2019 is 400 years from 1619. We are in the thick of it, in the middle of it right now. This is a do or die situation. We cannot be duped again. We cannot have people who look like us. Like everybody's got to wait their turn. Okay, so we had Obama. He was his part of American side was European American.
His mother.
Right. His black side is African. Right. Okay. So now we need someone coming up. We don't need
native.
Sorry to say. That's right. Native black. We don't need to see Haitian or Jamaican or any Caribbean or any kind of black or a mixture of black. We need someone coming up that people have been here since 1619 or 1554. The people who actually
know the struggle, understand the struggle,
have gone through this. We need at least a couple of us coming through this, and then we can get to the people. Because why would you send in a group of people who don't know? Why would you want to elect a person just because of the color of their skin who doesn't know you? That's kind of foolish. That's kind of like how the people who elected Trump, Trump is a businessman, and these people are in need. They are in sick health, which I don't know why they would want to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which they called Obamacare, and for some reason the Democrats couldn't message it better than what it was, let them know it was Affordable Care Act. They want the Affordable Care Act, but they don't want Obamacare. Well, Obamacare and Affordable Care Act, same thing. Republicans just were using it because they knew. Because they knew he looked out for his people. Because what happened yesterday? What I tell you? Soon as they said the head of the airlines was upset about what was going on, I said Trump they made a big business, made a phone call to Trump. Look, you messing with our money, the airlines. They said the Super Bowl is getting ready to be played in February.
And what did Trump do?
He opened up the airlines.
That's right. So big business. That's his people.
So no one called up for that question. So the answer to the question is: did Nancy Pelosi, did her stance cause Trump to cave like they've been saying on the media? The answer is no. Big business. It was big business to credit and say, okay, that's enough. You know, you heard the people because they said, wait a minute now. The people. This is a democracy. This is a republic that is a democracy. Democracy is a form of capitalism. How capitalism and a democracy continues to run is the people who are in the middle and the lower levels to try to get to being like the people up top. They live a certain fantasy, so they spend money, and it keeps the economy rolling because the rich save their money. So thus the people who are in the middle and in the lower level spend their money wanting to look as if they're rich, and that's the game.
Keeps the economy.
So it keeps the economy going. So when you strip 800,000 people of work, then and really it really begins to show. People often say the government isn't doing anything for us and we should make government smaller. Well, if you make government smaller, then 800,000 people will be out of a job,
because the everyday person is keeping the economy going, which helps keep the wealthy
because they're going to go shop at
grocery
Walmart.
stores,
they're gonna go or Whole Foods. They're gonna go shop at all these different places, right? Wherever they're gonna go and shop, right? And they also they're also gonna have insurance to be able to go to the hospital, to be able to pay their hospital bills. But if they're not working, they don't have insurance.
The money's not circulating.
There's no money circulating. So thus it's so. Boom. So now people finally get to see what government really does for them. And so they should, though, if you watch Vice and all that, you see how the cronyism is, but government works for the people. And that argument about government needs to be smaller, we should just wipe that out totally.
That's why my favorite line, what did I tell you? Andre 3000 and Outkast. What does he say in the song?
He said we're like neck to neck, because if you don't move your feet,
we don't eat, so we like neck and neck.
That's right. So don't think that I'm any better than you, because if you don't, then it's the same thing with that. If you don't, rich people cannot stay rich.
They can't rich,
So
people can't afford to buy the Louis Vuittons or the Gucci's, or they can't get the Nikes, or they can't even go. They can't go to Target.
Look at that. They cut. The rich can't stay rich. They cut the feed.
The rich can't stay rich. Because I mean, it goes in a circle. The everyday person needs to work. I mean, even if whether they're going to Walmart, whether they're going to Target, whether they're going to Smart and Final, whether they're going to Save a Lot, all these Whole Foods, wherever, people need to work to keep the economy going.
They need to get those overpriced Jordan tennis shoes.
They need to go to Amazon and make Amazon.
That's right. They make Amazon.
It goes in a circle.
So everything goes in a circle. So rich people who are rich, you can't stay rich unless there's a consumer base. And if the consumer base is not working, then that's
rich
what it
not
is.
Getting any money.
So we want to shout out to the airlines, because the airlines are really the ones that made it happen. It was the big business that really made this happen.
Because I swear, what did I tell you? As soon as it was on the news and they said the head of the airline,
and then all of a sudden he came out a few hours later.
All of a sudden,
came out there speaking, said it's over until February 15th. Way past, right after Valentine's Day. See, everybody got to get in their Valentine's Day candy, and they got to get all that out there, and then the economy will be robust for a while, and then they can see the game. See the game. It's about game, people. So this has been robust. We got 31 minutes left on the broadcast. This has been robust. They cut our signal a couple of times here.
Getting we were
talking real. But listen,
get up and twerk. They want
no. People was twerking, and we was twerking, or we were talking about battle of the sexes or anything like that, then the feed wouldn't.
Why don't you go do one of the challenges?
Look
a challenge.
Look what they did. Look, they keep cutting off the feed, but it keeps coming back because they say, "Oh my God, there's nothing really we can do about this." Look, it's a shame that this whole thing about what's going on FB and on YouTube and other platforms where
censorship.
You cannot.
Are you talking about censorship?
Well, you cannot express yourself, and black people in particular are the ones that come up with the new ideas that move the music along, move the culture along. American culture is black culture. Period. And it takes 7 years, and then you'll see something that we were saying in slang or the way we dress,
Right.
seen in a European American movie as if it's brand new.
Right.
So, you know, we are the ones that push this situation along, and for them to cut the feed when the new creators are coming from out of that. Look, what's her name? Issa Rae wouldn't have been around if they were cutting her feed for what she was doing on her stuff that was on YouTube.
Right.
If they had cut her feed, she wouldn't be on HBO doing her shows now, right?
Right.
So it's just really sad what they're doing, and it's wrong, and they're putting people in place on these different platforms that don't know what they're doing, and they're bringing down the heavy hand that has always been brought down on black people by European Americans. This is the way it is. So in closing this out, this has been robust. Let me tell you, we still got to get a rating on 11.9.
Oh,
Fahrenheit
10.
11.9, right? Listen.
10.
But it is so much more than what we focused on talking about.
Yes, a lot more in that documentary.
It's a whole through line from the beginning, from when he came down the escalator, why he came down the escalator, all the way to the end of the documentary.
Oh, we did. We mentioned about how Trump also has a relationship with the governor, also Flint, right?
Yeah, we said that, right?
Him and who we said Obama too, right?
Right. And how Obama is actually related to Cheney and to Brad Pitt.
Wow.
Isn't that something? You know, swab your mouth, people. You'll be finding out a lot of things. So where does the loyalty lie?
Right.
When it all depends on the loyalty lies for who raises you.
Where's Nina Turner?
And where's Nina? How come Bernie?
She should be
which we were pushing for Bernie.
Right.
When we were there, we were precinct captains at the delegate count and all that. But we will not be pushing for Bernie this time if Nina Turner is not his VP. Right. Matter of fact, he should have moved out the way and put Nina Turner up as president of the United States, and she would have been getting in there. Matter of fact, I'm probably going to post on here or on our next podcast, or probably on here later after we finish up. I'm going to post the interview that I did with her, because she comes from Cleveland. She was our representative, right?
Yeah. And she's for the people. 25.
She is for the people. Her language and her thing, we may have come on different boats, but we are now all in the same boat, and boats rise with the tide, with the high tide. So she has been the same person. Her message is the same, and she comes from us, and that's what we need. And when you come from us, unfortunately, you see what it is Obama was really like a litmus test for European Americans, because Obama came from both sides, right? So the story of what's happening is black people, because black is dominant, white is recessive, dark eyes, dark hair, dark skin dominant, light eyes, light skin, light hair, recessive. We come from who we are a combination of both people, for most part, of European American and people who were indigenous to this country. We are first here. Okay, so when it comes down to that, we are the embodiment of what will take America further. Right? So anyway, this has been brought to you by the Black Ice Chronicles. Back in Cleveland DVD. Hard copies available on LordlandFilms.com. Also streaming on LordlandFilms.com. Don't forget to pick up the film review t-shirt available on LordlandFilms.com. You know, so pick it up. Donation helps us out, keeps this going. Okay, so what would you rate the film before we get out of here?
Fahrenheit 11.9. I would definitely give it a 10. You have to watch it because there's a lot more information on the film than we could possibly cover. Well put together documentary. I forgot, because we've seen quite a few of Michael Moore's documentaries. Yeah, we've seen all of them. But I was like, at the time, I was weary because, you know, they had
cheated Bernie out of the situation, and you learn more about that. So you have to watch that 11/9. But so I was like, I don't feel like seeing this. This is gonna be a bash fest. But when it opens up, you are pleasantly surprised that it is not all bash fest on Trump. That it tells, it has a through line, a beautiful narrative, beautifully shot, everybody, beautifully researched. Michael Moore, I give it a 10. Well worth seeing. See Vice. See Michael Moore's 11/9, and you will have a better understanding. And also, you need to see Front Runner. You have to see these films. And you know, a lot of some people have asked us, how come you're black and you don't just review black films? And we say we are the embodiment of being black. Us being on the screen is black, right? And you have to go out and see the films of the still majority race in this country. There's only one race, but since they simplified it, let's just break it down like that. The majority race in this country, you had to go see their films to understand what's going on. Like, you would never think in Operation Finale, go watch that review, that they would have an anti-black theme running through a film about the Holocaust. But it was, and that's the way it is, and it's never explained, and the people who produced it never eradicate or get the mind to change in the film about the anti-black rhetoric that was put across in the film. And you would never know that if you don't go watch film. And that's another thing as we close out. Next Thursday, we have the Crazy Topic show. And what I'll be talking about is the hetero, bi, homo, hetero, bi, homo, toxic black female sexuality that's talking about always going at black men, right? So we're going to talk about that next Thursday at 11 a.m. We're talking about that next Thursday. We need to tune in because all you have to do, I'm going to give you a hint, a little bit of where I'm going with this. All you have to do, if you think it's so much greater on the other side with European American men, black women, if you think it's so much better on the other side with that, you should just watch their films and see how they treat their women. You can just watch Porky's and watch what they think. You can watch any horror film and see what they think and how their women are massacred because they can't, in my opinion, just by watching film, and film is a direct expression of what's happening ever since D.W. Griffith came up with the modern way to cut film with Birth of a Nation. It has always been about expressing what is in the person's heart and in their vision. And when you watch film, you see what they believe. You see what they believe. Not to mention on the adult side, what they really believe about black women and what they do to black women on the adult side of things, adult industry. It is shameful, and if you think it's better, so we're going to be talking about that next week, next Thursday, about the hetero, bi, homo, toxic black female sexuality against black men. We're going to be talking about that, so you just come in and chime in on that. So mark that on your calendars. We have to talk about that because it's getting out of hand and what's happening. We think R. Kelly is bad. Wait until we give you some examples next Thursday about what's really happening. But go watch those films. So the main point, bringing that back around to what we're talking about, you have to watch other people's films to know what they think, not only about themselves, but what they think about you. And so as we review the different films, of course, there are black films coming up, whole plethora of films coming up in February. February kicks off the films and we're rolling, baby. And so We're going to be reviewing all of those films, and we're going to be reviewing more of the majority culture films too, because we are the embodiment of black, so we don't have to just do black films only, review black films only. So we just wanted to be clear about that.
Because the origin of all man comes from
black people. So
Africa.
That's right. So when you learn the haberdasheries and the music, the classical music, and it all came from. But anyway.
And what did Nicki Minaj say?
What did she say?
She said, "All these bitches is my sons."
Ooh, and so that's where. So that's where we will leave it, people. Again, this was brought to you by the Black Ice Chronicles back in Cleveland DVD, which also, if anybody doesn't watch the Black Ice Chronicles, you should, because I have been on the cutting edge of talking about Me Too before there was a Me Too, right? But we need to have some responsibility and balance on what we do as individuals, and this is what the Black Ice Chronicles tells that story,
right,
from females
right,
that won the Silver Ace Award at the International Las Vegas Film Festival,
right,
all the way up to and beyond,
right,
back in Cleveland DVD, starring Poison Ivy,
right,
as the lead character, as Shawanda. So watch this, get this, order this, and also don't forget to order the film review tee, right? Black with the white letters on Lordland Films. Both are available on Lordland Films. We produce what entertains you, and we have all the different shows. We have, again, the film review. We have Crazy Talk, Crazy Topics comes on at 11 a.m. We have Crazy D Talks film production that comes on Mondays at 10 a.m. Then we have Lordland Films how-to series that's available on Vimeo. All of this can be heard on SoundCloud, on the film review SoundCloud, and also Crazy D, Lordland Hip Hop and Podcast, 2 different stations on SoundCloud. And Instagram, Crazy D Film Dude, Twitter. Make sure you follow all those. Make sure you follow Crazy on Dion. And then we're just making it happen for 2019. We appreciate all the people who tuned in. Very, very disappointed in FB and their bots for cutting the signal. They cut the signal on us on something else the other day. They always cut the signal on Like It Is Radio, and it seems like it's just the most mundane or uninteresting or most harmless stuff that they cut the feed on, but it must not be harmless, and that's why they cut the feed, because it must be kicking truth, and truth does have to get out to the people, even if the people aren't going to move on it. So that's where we stand with that, and we are out of here for right now, and we appreciate you. Anything that you want to say before you close? We close?
We will continue to review all films and discuss what's going on in the culture, music. That's it.
That's right. So you've been watching the film review, movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. We are the husband and wife team. I'm Crazy D.
Tracey.
And we review culture and movies, music, politics, and society. And we're going to close
the film review, movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. Brought to you by LordlandFilms.com. The hosts, Crazy D and Tracey Dion. All music heard on the film review available on iTunes, Apple Music. Live stream recording and audio, Crazy on Dion. Research on topics, Tracey Dion. The film review, movies, music, culture, and whatever else comes to mind. All rights reserved. LordlandFilms.com. Copyright 2019.